That is what you're in for on this episode.
Good Wednesday evening, everybody. Mark Melnyk here on the new Fly Fisher Live. Thanks for joining us. We've got a very, very special show coming up for you tonight. A very good friend of ours, owner of Drift Fly Shop and Lodge, Mike Wilson, will join us. We're going to talk about all things Island Park in eastern Idaho and have an absolute blast. But first, check this out.
There he is. Got him. Coming up on this episode of the New Fly Fisher, we're in Island Park, Idaho, DIY, doing it ourselves on Henry's Lake and all the tributaries in and around Island Park. This big fish adventure starts right now on the New Fly Fisher. Come on, get in the net, you little donkey. One of the things that I absolutely love about fishing in Yellowstone Teton territory, specifically the Island Park region, is the fact that there's so many rivers and creeks where you can do it yourself, DIY. All you have to do is drop into a fly shop, pick up some flies, ask the right questions, and they can help you and guide you. Chasing it. Got him. Oh my gosh, can you believe this? This is unbelievable. Oh, this is so much fun. In this irrigation ditch, and I put my polarized glasses on, and I see this red thing in the water, and it's a salmon. It's a Kokanee salmon. I've never even seen one of these, let alone had an opportunity to fish them. Yes, are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me right now? Oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at that. This is insane. All right, what an absolute thrill. Let's let this guy go.
So this show will be coming to you this Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern time on YouTube. Checking it out on the New Fly Fisher YouTube channel. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to you my very good friend and fishing buddy, Mike Wilson. Mike, how you doing, man?
All right, how are you doing, Mark?
Good. How's Island Park, Idaho?
It's right now. It's blue and sunny and kind of nice for a change. We're ready for winter to come to an end, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. How's your winter been?
We've had a very good winter, precipitation-wise, snow-wise. We're right about 100% of normal.
Right.
We still have a lot of snow left. I think we're going to get a good late runoff, which will help keep river, especially the still water of the lakes, Henry's Lake, cool longer into the year. And should be another banner year for us.
How was last season?
It was off the charts everywhere. Henry's Lake in the fall, well, Henry's Lake from opening day all the way through never really slowed down. We didn't get any of the algae bloom like normal.
Mm-hmm.
We had a little bit, but not the real heavy, ugly stuff that we've seen a couple times in past years. Plants went well. The spawn has came and gone for the Henry's Lake fish, for the planters, not for the natural fish. And the numbers that showed up were really good.
So let's talk a little bit about the dynamics of Henry's Lake and what Henry's Lake actually is, because you've mentioned stalkers and you've mentioned naturals. What's the program going on at Henry's Lake as it applies to fly anglers?
They plant approximately 1.3 million fish a year, approximately 900,000 cutthroat, Yellowstone cutthroat. 150 to 200, 250 hybrids, and around 50,000 brook trout, although we've got more than that the last couple of years. So I think we're going to see another really good bang up year for the brooks.
And what's the season for fishing Henry's Lake? I mean, I know you're in the deep freeze now. I'm assuming it's not open water yet. When does the season start, and what can you expect on the lake?
The season will open on May 29th, which is the Saturday before Memorial Day. And then it goes all the way through till January 1 and some ice fishing. Ice off the last couple of years has happened first week of May, and I'm guessing we're probably going to be really close to that again. We've had early freezes the last 2 years. We've actually had the lake, capped and iced over the last week of October.
Yeah, and that's interesting because the last 2 years that you and I have fished together, it's been a September play. It's still warm enough during the day, and you're still having green vegetation in the lake, which is the grocery store for all your scuds and your freshwater, munchies for these fish. What can somebody expect to catch in the fall? Because in my mind's eye, fall time is prime time, right?
Well, all three strains that I talked about there, hybrids up to 14 to 16 pounds. It's very common that we're seeing 8 to 12 pounders. Brooks are going to range up to 7 pounds.
Wow.
We had a double, wasn't it? That we both caught a couple of 2 to 3 pounders.
Yeah, they were over 18 inches.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the brook trout will get up to size pretty fast in there. And then the Yellowstone cuts will, up 6 pounds, 7 pounds. Henry's Lake's kind of weird because you talked about the amount of food and feed for the fish in the lake. So those fish, the average lifespan is from 4 to 5 years.
Wow. So they've got good growing time.
They grow fast and they literally eat themselves to death. In comparison, a Yellowstone cutthroat and say Yellowstone Lake is probably 14 to 15 years.
Oh, wow. So very, very fast growing season for them.
Yes.
But we did not exclusively fish Henry's Lake. My job while I was there visiting you was to explore the region around Island Park, and we had an absolute blast doing it. I'd look at Highway 20 from Idaho Falls up into the Montana border as Idaho's artery to access for trout anglers. And it really is something that if anybody wants to catch trout on fly, Highway 20 is where it's at, isn't it?
It is. And I'm starting to see pictures from anglers down lower where it's, the lower Henry's Fork from Ashton all the way down to Idaho Falls. You're starting to get some activity in there. And fishing's picking up. People are coming back. It's kind of nice.
Nice. Let's take a look at a little bit of the premise of the show, shall we?
Sure.
Little city in Yellowstone Teton Territory in eastern Idaho. Island Park sits at the base of Sawtell Peak and Mount Jefferson and is home to the world-famous Henry's Lake Stillwater Fishery and, of course, Island Park Reservoir. We're in Island Park as guests of good friend Mike Wilson of Drift Lodge and Fly Shop. Mike has invited me here for 2 reasons. Number 1, to experience the world-class fishing in the area as a do-it-yourself fishery. And number 2, to meet and fish with Hall of Fame surfboard shaper and excellent angler Al Merrick. Mike didn't have to ask me twice. There is a vast variety of angling opportunities in the Island Park area, including small stream trout fishing, access to Yellowstone National Park, the Henry's Fork of the Snake River, and of course, Henry's Lake itself. I've fished this area in the past, always with a guide. I begin this Island Park adventure as every DIY angler should, hitting the local fly shop, picking up some local fly patterns, and of course, some local knowledge.
So, Mike, how many people do you have that come through the shop that are looking for guides or that are actually there to do it themselves?
Oh, the majority of the people that come in are actually wanting to do it themselves. I'm going to say 9 out of 10 are
Is that right?
DIYers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about the shop philosophy. I mean, Garrett Marshall's in there, you're in there, Jamie's in there. You've got a great background of educated staff in the area that know what the fisheries are doing day to day. What's your philosophy about having people come in as a DIY angler? Is it all secrets or is it open info?
It's open info in our shop. We want people to be happy and come back. I mean, if we can put them on fish, get them in the areas where they're going to catch fish, they're going to be a return client and they're going to go tell their friends. So there's no secrets kept here.
No, and that's one of the wonderful things. I mean, you go in, you buy a couple of flies, you ask the right questions, and you're going to be pointed into, nary I say the cliche of world-class fishing, but, we do have the opportunity to fish small, intimate streams, which we're going to show you in just a second, and big, massive, world-famous rivers like the the Henry's Fork of the Snake River. It's all within, an hour drive of the shop. It's absolutely perfect, isn't it?
It is, and there's a few other places that we didn't even touch that you can hit here within 25 minutes. And is for us in the fly shop, I would be remiss if I didn't say it is only 25 minutes to the Madison River and Reynolds Bridge from the fly shop. And that just adds one more blue ribbon water to our list of where we can send you.
And one of the cool things about going to Island Park, Idaho, is, in all honesty, if you blink, you miss it. It's a small little town. It's it's spread out over a large area, but it's very unique in the fact that you're not going to see tributaries that pass under river or pass under the roads. You're not going to see tributaries that are visible to anybody that happens to be passing through. You actually have to do a little bit of work to find this stuff. And that's part of the fun of it is figuring out where the public access is and what's fishing at that particular time.
It is, and we're very lucky to have good cooperation with the government agencies and private agencies for great fishing access here in Idaho. And, our trespass laws are very favorable to the fishermen. As long as you're staying within the high water mark of the rivers and streams, you can basically fish any water that you like.
Wow, that's fantastic because there's just so much to fish there. We had the opportunity of, when I dropped in to see you to buy some flies, you suggested that I hit a little tiny tributary of Henry's Lake that I do not name in the show. I'm not going to name it now, but it is within, shouting distance of the lodge and the fly shop. And I could not believe the day that we had. Let's take a look.
I do want, Mark, can I correct you a little bit there?
Yeah.
That was not a tributary to Henry's Lake. That was the outflow. Part of the outflow.
So it was the stream leaving the lake.
Yes.
Now, is that a tailwater or freestone?
It's freestone.
Oh, wow. Perfect. Now, this area is strictly catch and release, I will tell you, and it is super sensitive to pressure. The other thing that I do need to tell you is if you're going to go and do this as a DIY, bring some bear spray. Not kidding. I was with my cameraman, Ben, and I said, hey, Ben, this looks like a super berry country. And just no sooner than I said that, I happened to look down and there was a grizzly bear print in the mud that was about that big. And I was so glad I had my bear spray with me because, in those alders, they could be sleeping up. And anyway, whatever. It's you have to be where you have to be where you are in bear country. So let's take a look at my first encounter of a small stream Henry's Lake tributary outflow fish.
Small creeks like this are very sensitive to pressure, and it goes without saying we're respecting the lodge's request for catch and release, as always. This creek sees many trout species, including cutthroat, rainbow, and brook trout. It fishes just like any small stream, intimate, quiet, and stealthy.
One of the things that's great about hunting small streams is it's just that, it's hunting. You've got to watch your steps, you've got to watch your shadows, you've got to watch your shadow from not only your person, but your rod and your fly line. So stealth is the key. Stand back a bit, know where those fish are going to be lying, place that perfect cast, and get ready to dance. You got to be ready when fishing small stream cutthroat. Generally, your first cast is your best cast. So when you're ready to lay one in there, you got to be ready to do the dance right away, because it could happen immediately, just like that. Ooh, good fish. Really good. Oh, this is a beautiful cutthroat. Took the nymph. We're fishing a hopper dropper system today. You stay out of there, please. Oh my goodness, this 5 weight is working out. Come on, buddy. Stick with me, pal. In small streams, it does not get any better than this. Absolutely amazing. Pop out that little, it's actually a jig nymph. It's got a tungsten head and a little bit of blue flash, 18 inches underneath the ant. Took this absolute stud of a cutthroat in a small stream. Doesn't get better than that.
So for the first fish of the day, that sort of set us up for something pretty awesome, I have to tell you. So thank you for guiding us to that area, showing us where to go, and or telling us where to go. And man, what an absolutely great fish. Is that indicative of what you can catch in those small streams?
That's average. In all honesty, you're going to catch anything from 4 inches to 8 pounds through there. That little stream's going to surprise the heck out of you. I get clients that come back and bring pictures of some really amazing fish that you would never think you'd be able to catch in that small stream.
Yeah, my partner in crime here, Colin McEwen, who's monitoring the chat, just told me that the video stream is really poor for some reason. I apologize for that. I've relocated to the country, and we're still trying to figure out our Wi-Fi situation. So it's a work in progress. That's all I can say. So, but the good news is you get to see it in full HD on YouTube on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So Andrew Newton, love the new DIY stuff. A lot more relatable for us who can't afford guides. You know what, Andrew, that's the point. And Mike can talk to this, is that, what we do with the new fly fisher is we showcase the very best, and we also showcase the stuff that anybody can do. And that's the beauty of having accommodations and an affordable place to stay in Island Park, such as Drift, that you can do just that, right, Mike?
That's it. I mean, like I said, the majority of our clients are not here for guide trips. They're here to fish, do it on their own. And they came here because they heard about the fishing, and hopefully they're coming to us because they know, they've heard word of mouth that we're not going to tell them just the well-known public places. We're going to get you where you can catch fish.
Oh, and that's 100% true. I mean, the beauty of a family-owned fly shop like this is that they have your best interests at heart, because if they can fill their cabins and they can have people in regularly, it benefits everybody. I mean, when we were there last summer, there was a group from out of state that had seen our previous YouTube live, Facebook live, and they called us over for a beer. Remember, hey man, that was super fun. Come say happy birthday to my buddy. That was amazing. So it is a very small family that's there.
And I grew up in a family of moderate means, and going out and hiring a guide wasn't in the feasible realm. So it's the way we did things, and it's the way I've learned to fish, and I would never want to take that away from somebody. And opportunity.
Yeah, the opportunity is huge. And the next video I'm going to show is testament to that, because one of the things that I tried to do this summer in shooting the new Fly Fisher episodes in the West is I tried to go unicorn hunting. And in unicorn hunting, you're throwing, basically you're throwing everything at the fridge to see what sticks. And you may not catch fish, but you may be awesome. So you got to guess there, Mike. You good?
I do. He's one of my better clients. I just he's stopping by to say hi. So
nice,
he does. So he'll listen in for a little bit here.
All right. So we went unicorn hunting. We were on that same little tributary, and you saw a little bit of it in the preview, but I'm going to show you what was one of the most amazing experiences for me this summer. And I do caution you, I do get a little bit excited.
I approach an irrigation diversion and see a red streak slashing through the pool, so I change my rig to a streamer immediately.
Oh, he's going to eat it. He's going to eat it. Chasing it. Got him. Oh my gosh, can you believe this? This is unbelievable. We're in this irrigation. Oh, this is so much fun. In this irrigation ditch. And I put my polarized glasses on and I see this red thing in the water. And it's a salmon. It's a Kokanee salmon. Where's my net? I've never even seen one of these, let alone had an opportunity to fish them. I'm a disaster right now. I go down and net this guy. There are Kokanee in Island Park Reservoir. Yes, are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me right now? Oh my goodness. So I had a hopper and a nymph on. Let me catch my breath. Saw this red dash ripping around in this pool. Put on a black bead-headed leech, and he ate it. He actually ate it. Look at that. Look at that. This is insane. All right, what an absolute thrill. Let's let this guy go. You know, it's these moments in this sport that absolutely leave you gobsmacked. I've never even seen a Kokanee salmon before, and to be able to catch one here in Idaho, unbelievable. Absolutely fantastically spectacular.
It was one of the highlights of my summer. I got to tell you, it was one of those things where I actually goldfish go, and it was turned into a big old koi or something like that in that drainage ditch, but no, it ate a fly, that thing, and it was aggressive. That was super fun.
Oh, and a lot of people don't realize that, the Idaho Fish and Game plants the Kokanees in Island Park Reservoir. So those are their spawning waters. And the time of year that you were there was the very beginning of what would have been their run. It's kind of funny because a couple days after you went over there and after you left, I was at Big Springs and ran into one of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife guys that they were up doing their counts on the reds, and they hadn't gone up that far because they didn't think anything was going to be up there. And it's nice because the numbers are showing back up and they're running further and better than what they have been in the past few years.
Well, that was the only fish that we saw the entire time on that.
He or she was the early arriver there.
Right.
They did go up and count. He was very surprised at the number of fish that they got from there down to its confluence with the Henry's Fort. And it's fun.
That's what Byron is just saying here, is at the right time of year, the kokanee are so thick at Coffee Pot that the river turns red. So they actually are in there, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And, they'll hold up at just below the rapids and make their way up. It takes them a while to get up through there. And then, you'll see them up spawning in their beds at Big Springs. Can't fish up there.
Right.
There's some monster fish up there to view, though. And it's a neat time of the year just to be around and see all of that. And I'm sure that maybe that bear track and that bear that you crossed was probably getting ready for some of that too.
I wouldn't doubt it. Now, one of the interesting things, Mike, is when we were going back and editing the show, that first big cutthroat that we caught and released, if you notice, I saw where I was standing on that stretch of river, and it looked like there may have been a red there, right? So I stayed away from it. I stayed away from that nest. And if you notice, when I released that cutthroat, it looked like I released that cutthroat right into right above the red. I wonder if that was a kokanee nest. I really do.
It's very likely. If there's one, there's got to be more than just the one. Yeah, right. The diversion dam is kind of a stop for that. Diversion dam is sort of a stop for them. That's as high as they're going to be able to go.
There is a fish ladder there, and we did catch that. We did catch that cutthroat above the diversion dam. So maybe it wasn't a red. I don't know. But anyway, we stayed away from it for sure. Yeah,
and I'm not going to tell you that they can't get around there. It's just I haven't seen that many up that high.
Okay.
So
for those of you who are interested in what Drift Lodge and Fly Shop has to offer, take a look at this. This is sort of a quick overview as to what you can expect at a housekeeping outfit that is such. It's a fantastic spot, and it covers everything you might want, from a huge house for you and your buddies to something that you and your significant other, or you and your fishing buddy can stay at. Check this out.
Is located right on Idaho's artery to access for anglers, the famous Highway 20, just a few short miles from the Montana border and the west gate of Yellowstone National Park. The lodge has a variety of extremely economical lodging options to choose from, including a large house for bigger groups to smaller cabins perfect for couples or you and your fishing buddy. Regardless, whatever suits your style, all cabins are extremely comfortable with Wi-Fi, full kitchens, full power, and satellite television should you want. The lodge is a housekeeping lodge, so you can come and go at your leisure and eat when you like.
And that's what was key for me, is that you could come and go as you wanted. The fly shop's open early and stays open late, and there's always somebody there to support you no matter what. What's your clientele generally that shows up that's looking to stay?
Oh, geez. From young families to older and retired. Not last year, but we even get a lot of non-domestic visitors that are looking to go into the park. So Very good cross sampling of everybody.
The beautiful thing is that it's affordable. It's extremely affordable and extremely comfortable. So you've knocked it out of the park on that sense. Let's talk a little before we get into the Henry's Fork section of our show. Let's talk a little bit about the flies that you recommend for that outlet. Those small tributaries of the lake.
Okay. I know one of the ones that I sent you out with was the Hyga's SOS, which is a jig, and we do a lot in both the tan and olive on that. Oh boy. There we go. I went ahead and grabbed the forceps so you can see just a good little all-around nymph caddis type emerger. We also, let me see, I've got an olive one in here of the same pattern with a little bit of red flash and your stripe. Whoops.
Hold on, let me get this bigger for you here.
There we go. I don't know if you can.
Now, what's that one?
That's the Hyga's Olive SOS.
Mm-hmm.
These are all nymph jigs. You can't go over there without something that has a little bit of purple or blue in it. This is one of my favorites right here. Oh, I'll get it.
It's hard working backwards, isn't it?
It is. There we go. This is a purple mylar print. It has a little bit of a little bit of olive in it, along with the purple. And you mentioned that you had a blue nymph, a light blue nymph on. They also have it with the blue. I just didn't happen to have anything close at hand. Other things that work is a little redneck pheasant tail.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we probably gave you a few of those when you went over.
Yeah, those tungsten perdigons as well. Something that gets down quick under a hopper was really key, because you may not, fishing those undercut banks, you need it to sink relatively quickly, such that you could get down into that area. I said that we were using 18 inches of tippet between the hopper and the dropper, which seems like a lot, but it really wasn't, because they'd come out and strike it and turn back in quickly, and give you that indicator to drop. So that was key. But getting down fast was imperative. Now, I happened to have, when we were fishing that Kokanee salmon in the diversion dam, I happened to, just by accident, have a black bunny leech. Yep, there it is, unweighted. That was the magic. And I was so surprised that fish would, because, when salmon come up to eat, generally, they're not interested in feeding in any way, but this thing lit right up and chased that, well, as you saw, chased that fly for 5 minutes before it finally came tight. Those mouths are so small. So, yeah, it was awesome. That's a good selection of flies. Really good.
That little black leech is good over there all year long.
Yeah.
It's our go-to for Henry's Lake, for the outlet, even the lower Henry's Fork.
What about for your terrestrials on the hopper side? What do you recommend for that?
We sent you out with Chernobyl ants,
small Chernobyls,
and
yes.
mega ants, and then any good hopper. I'm going brain dead on my hopper names, and the hog wild hopper.
Mm-hmm. Something super foamy.
Very foamy.
And to be honest with you, we didn't get much on the outlet with dries. I think we may have had a couple of rainbows. Remember I was telling you about that time, that incidents where the current was going downstream, obviously, and the wind was blowing upstream.
Mhm.
And it was actually causing these massive waves for the outlet and making those nips really, really dance. And that's when those rainbows were coming up and hitting the hopper. That's the only time we were able to get them with massive movement. We're able to get those
when
hoppers
you
to
get
eat.
to the end of September, that's the end of the hopper season up here. I have a tendency to use that more as an indicator than just, because you're only fishing 18 inches off of that hopper with your dropper. And I like it even better, something like that better than an indicator.
Well, my philosophy is that it is an indicator. And if you've got an indicator with a hook on it and they're going to eat the indicator, then you might as well catch that fish as opposed to not, right?
Yep.
Piece of cake. So Adam's asking what time of year. Adam, we were there in mid-September, actually. So that's what, and the year before that, we were there early September, if memory serves correct.
Yeah, I can't. I wanted to say you were there about a week later in the year, but
Do I have it backwards?
I think so.
Because it did snow. It did snow, didn't it? Remember, we got blown off the lake.
And Phil got to spend a couple extra days with us because he couldn't drive back towing his boat. So
that's right. That's totally right. So there was a statement earlier about coffee pot and the Henry's Fork. Talk a little bit about public access on the Henry's Fork. I didn't include some of the Euro nymphing stuff that we did, Mike, in the show in this segment. You can watch that on the show on Saturday. But let's talk a little bit about what the Henry's Fork, that section of the Henry's Fork, has to offer for anglers.
Upper part of the river, you've got really good access from where the Henry's Fork dumps into Island Park Reservoir at McCrae Bridge. You can access the river there. It's not hard to fish all the way up to Coffee Pot. You can drop in from the Coffee Pot campground. You've also got there's another little dead end loop road right above Coffee Pot that's about a half-mile walk off the hill, and it'll take you right down to the rapids, so you don't have to fish up or down. But I mean, when you've got a river like that, I prefer to fish up or down to there. And
right.
You can take a boat part way up above, but you cannot go under motor power above McCrae Bridge. So you'll be rowing upstream to the island, and then you can go up from there.
Gotcha.
You can also access at Max Inn, and there's a couple other little accesses that we never told you about up through there, and get in and over to where the outlet drops into the Henry's Fork. It's known as the bathtubs, and there's some nice fish in there if you're willing to do the work to get in there. And then below Island Park Reservoir, you've got all of Box Canyon.
There's one for you, buddy.
Oh, well, Mr. Tubbs, you're if anybody knows how to catch a fish on Henry's Lake with a fly, it's Mr. Tubbs. So I don't think he owns a spinner, other than if he's trying to catch one of his bass back in Oklahoma. So
yeah. Sorry, Mike, I had to call you out on that one.
No. Oh, but he knows we support all the fishermen up here. So, we like everybody.
Nice. All right, let's take a look at what the Henry's Fork has to offer.
In the truck for 10 minutes driving to the Henry's Fork here. It's public walk and wade access. It's absolutely perfect for those who want to DIY. We are loaded up with a hopper and a dropper in search of cutthroat, rainbows, and maybe even a brook trout. This evening here on the Henry's Fork, I'm working my way upstream, and I've actually got 3 pieces of structure that I'm fishing as I'm methodically moving up. Over on my left that are creating their own seams and their own, which might hold some fish, but what I'm really excited about is the rock that's directly ahead of me and the 2 seams that it's throwing on either side of it. So as I take a couple steps up, I'll put this chubby Chernobyl into each piece of structure, 2, 3, take another couple steps up, 1, 2, 3, effectively covering all the water. Always keeping an eye on the chubby because I do have 2 titanium nymphs on underneath this. So let's see what happens. All right, we got ourselves a good one here. It ate the ant. It ate the Chernobyl. We're gonna get.
Oh, looks like we might have lost Mark. There he is.
I'm back. Like I said, it's the same as living in the country. It's this kind of thing happens. So anyway, let's try that again.
For 10 minutes driving to the Henry's Fork here. It's public rock that's directly ahead of me and the 2 seams that it's throwing on either side of it. So as I take a couple steps up, I'll put this chubby Chernobyl into each piece of structure, 2, 3, take another couple steps up, 1, 2, 3, effectively covering all the water. Always keeping an eye on the chubby because I do have 2 titanium nymphs on underneath this. So let's see what happens. All right, we got ourselves a good one here. It ate the ant. It ate the Chernobyl. I'm gonna get this guy on the reel. It's a big one. It's a big rainbow. I can see him. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Come on, buddy. Right out in the middle of this flat, there's a rock up here that is throwing 2 seams off. And I'm fishing up to the rock, hitting each seam as I move up. And this guy came up and just whacked it. I'm gonna move him into the shallow water here. Never mind, I'm gonna rope him. Woohoo! Good rainbow, man. What a good fish. Wild places and unreal rainbow trout. I'm just gonna get these flies out of here so I don't stick myself or stick this rainbow. Now there is a double dropper on this, so I have to be careful. And then I will show you what we're dealing with here. All right. How do you like that? Good fish on a Chernobyl ant.
So there are some big ones in there, and that's public access. And that, I mean, we've caught probably, well, countless rainbows out of there, and it was just all day. It was super fun. It was, you know, myself and the cameraman were running around and just having an absolute blast.
And, you know, you saw that you were by yourself a lot too. So, you know, that's the other.
I didn't see anybody else. Didn't see anybody else. There was one, that's a lie, actually. There was an older gentleman that was right at the trailhead that popped in and threw a couple casts and then walked back out. So, you know, in the fall time, when a lot of people in the area have switched their gear from fly rods to archery or to hunting, you know, it's a fantastic time to be there because you've got the rivers all to yourself. You really do.
You do. I'm sorry, I was reading a couple of the text messages, catching up on what I missed and catching a couple of names there. So, I just don't know if I can say enough about this area. It's we can send you a different place every day for 2 weeks. We didn't even touch Warm River.
Yeah. Well, let's
And
talk a
some of
little bit
the-
about Warm River, because you've got an alliance now with a friend of ours as well in the name of Three Rivers Ranch. Tell me a little bit about what that side of your business is doing for the Island Park area, the Yellowstone area, and down in Ashton.
Yeah, we have created a partnership with Lonnie and Three Rivers Ranch to offer our clients and guests here a better opportunity to fish some of the other waters that we have not been permitted on. They've been fishing and guiding people on the Henry's Fork for over 40 years. It's over 60 years, isn't it? And they know what's going on. The biggest positive, to me, the most important part coming out of that deal is we're actually able to offer more trips per day onto Henry's Lake. And when we can double what we can do there, it's a win-win for both of us.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. But one of the things that I found was amazing, and what you have access to, is Yellowstone National Park. Can you talk a little bit about Yellowstone and you are leaving Idaho, you're going up into Montana.
You are,
but it's still something that you and the Three Rivers Ranch family do offer.
We do. Right here at the Drift Lodge, we are 17 miles from the west gate of Yellowstone Park, right on the Madison. Madison River runs right there at the west gate, and you have all of the western waters over here. I believe we sent you to the Gibbon River. I wished there had been a way we could do more filming there at that time, but with COVID and the regulations, getting the permits was not possible. We did what was allowed, but the Gibbon, the Fire Hole, the whole Madison, from the confluence of the Fire Hole and the Gibbon till you get out of the park, especially in October, you start getting the browns coming up there and running, and some excellent streamer fishing in the fall and the spring, because of the warmer water temps and everything. The Fire Hole is an amazing river to be on. You're not going to catch really huge fish up in there, but it's just an experience. To me, I go up there and I end up sitting on the river and just taking everything in. I probably do more watching and relaxing than I do fishing. It's a spiritual place for me. It is for most of the clients that we take up there.
Well, my short afternoon there was nothing short of amazing. And I will preface it, what you're about to see, by saying, because of COVID and because of the regulations in place at the time, we were allowed to shoot within the park, but we had to keep a distance away from Ben, my cameraman, and myself had to keep a distance away from each other, such that you couldn't recognize any faces or anything like that. So with that caveat, let's take a look at what an afternoon at Yellowstone Park might actually look like.
After a fun morning on the Henry's Fork, I pick up and head north to Yellowstone National Park. To fish Yellowstone National Park, you need to have a park pass and a license. A state-issued angler's license isn't suitable enough. You need a park license to fish within the boundaries. There is a multitude of angling opportunities within the park boundaries, including famous rivers such as the Gallatin, the Madison, Snake, and Yellowstone River itself. Today, we're fishing a small tributary of the Madison, just a short walk from the car park. Make sure you bring your camera, and bear spray too. There's wildlife everywhere.
You know, and once again, we were the only two. Ben and I were the only two on the river, which was just incredible. So, you know, it's to get in there and to have exclusive access, not exclusive access, but to be the only one fishing that area. And we caught, you know, some fantastic browns. It was a wonderful afternoon, and to see bison, elk, what are those big birds there that what we saw, the chicken of the sky,
The sandhill cranes.
Sandhill cranes, right?
Yeah. The big prehistoric sounding bird.
Yeah, coyotes. So one thing to mention that's important is you do need a state license and you do need a park license to be able to fish in there. You can't just have a state license and be okay. You do need a park license as well. So you can get that through Mike as well.
I will mention the park has gone digital this year, and you can actually start buying your licenses online for the park now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's brand new announcement that just came out. They did increase their park fees though. So something to look for and be ready for.
Have you ever fished the Bigwood River down by Sun Valley? I've never. I've only ever fished in Idaho out of Yellowstone Teton territory. Mike, what about you?
I have. I actually went over there with a rural recovery camp and fished, and we had a great time. Caught some really nice cutthroat. Again, relaxing and fun. You know, we were over there to help out and learn, and I was learning. They were helping me as much as I was helping them. It was a wonderful place to be.
It's amazing. Adam asks, been going the beginning of October, just wondering if that's a good time or should I start coming a week or two earlier than that, or both? Adam, maybe.
Oh, let me see. I recognize Adam's names from a lot of the groups up here. You're probably going to do better end of September, last week of September, first week of October. But if I remember right, Adam's quite an ice fisherman, so he's probably a little bit early talking October.
Adam also asked, do you sell a Montana license?
Montana doesn't allow Idaho vendors to sell licenses per se. We do provide computer and terminal and get you onto their online system. We'll even print out a copy for you. So yes and no.
Okay. We're going to move on to Henry's Lake now, and discussion about what the lake has to offer. And one of the non-DIY parts of the show that we did with you, simply because there was a gentleman that you thought that we should meet, Surfing Hall of Fame inductee, Al Merrick, who's a resident of Island Park and also a resident of Santa Barbara. For those of you who may not know Al is one of the most soft-spoken, gentle, fantastic anglers I've ever had the pleasure to share a boat with. He is responsible for shaping Kelly Slater's board since the age of 12. And for those of you who may not know, Kelly Slater is a multi-time world champion surfer. Al's the man. He is the absolute man. So I want to thank you for that opportunity to spend the day fishing with Al. We went back to his cabin while his kids were hunting. We missed the deer, unfortunately, but they did get one right away, and it was just a really nice way to end our trip was fishing with you two and listening to Al, who's in his 70s now and winding his surfing career down and picking up his fishing career about his philosophies on fishing and surfing and life. It was a fun day, wasn't it?
It was great. And, just his relationship with fishing, it to me is an amazing story. He's so soft spoken, but yet such an avid lover of fishing, and one of those guys that you're proud to say is a client of ours.
Mm-hmm.
Not only a neighbor, but a client. And I'm so impressed with his fishing story and his love of the sport.
Right. So before we get into our little video or short video with Al, let's talk about Henry's Lake and the seasons of Henry's Lake. When does it open, and when does it close, and what can people expect throughout the year?
Henry's Lake opens May 29th, Saturday before Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
Closes to all fishing on January 1st.
Okay. And are there hatches that happen for fly anglers, or is it all streamers and nymphing?
Oh, no. Well, Henry's isn't traditionally a very good topwater lake like a couple of the other lakes in the area. You'll come up with a couple days every year, get them coming up and hitting on a calabatus or a caddis. It's mostly subsurface. And I think most of it has to do with just the amount of food there is down there in the lake. The scuds, the leeches, the damsel emergers as the year goes on. They don't have to look up. They really don't.
Let's talk about some of the flies, Mike, that you recommend when you're fishing Henry's Lake.
Year round, all favorite of not just ours, but most anybody that fishes Henry's is the electric black leech. And you can fish that with a bead or without, depending on the type of line you choose to use. Mm-hmm. The other pattern that Henry's Lake's funny. You've got all your different fly patterns, and every year it seems like there's one that comes not out of nowhere, but is the one that the fish are really looking for. This past year was the half-ass renegade. Mm-hmm. It was the producer of the year. And then for those of you, especially when it gets windy, and you'll find that a lot on Henry's, and it's making it hard casting. You still want to fly fish the purple showgirl.
Yeah, it's a great fly.
And, it's great. You can throw it out, drift, give it a pull every once in a while, go along with the wind. Early and late season, it's been, in the top 3 of everything every year.
Yeah, and one I'd like to add to that for sure is a bead-headed golden retriever. We had an absolute rock and roll time with the bead-headed golden retriever this summer. It was just, you couldn't keep the fish off it. It was just amazing. Yeah,
these are both balance leeches from our buddy Phil.
Yeah, those are Phil Rowley's ties.
Yeah, olive and orange, your black, bruised black. And then his micro leech. I had great success with that this year. Both
Yeah.
indicator and just pulling it back, actually just pulling it back slow. It's the balanced leeches seem to be the way that people are starting to look and go currently is the, sort of new.
Well, they fish
New
perfectly
thoughts
under
on
an,
the-
they fish perfectly under an indicator,
Under an
right? So if
they
you get any
do.
chop, on the water, and it just makes those flies dance, and it's irresistible to all those fish.
And I've had a lot of clients, with their sinking lines, Mark, go to the balanced leeches like that, and they like the action that they get stripping them back. And we're starting to see a lot more of that than we have in the years past.
Right. Mike, point taken. Absolutely. We caught all of our big brook trout this September on white zonkers, actually stripping them back. Mike, what about the buffalo? I've never fished the buffalo. I fished the mouth of the buffalo as it dumps in at Box Canyon. How's the buffalo fishing?
It's another one of those little sneaky streams that you don't hear a lot about. But there are a lot of fish up in there. You've got some pretty good access right off of Highway 20, or you can go down to the ladders and fish up from there. The only thing that we have saw there a lot more this year in the past couple of years is you got a lot more recreational floaters in there. So we haven't been sending a lot of people that way just for that.
Gotcha.
But early season, late season, before things warm up, I wouldn't hesitate at heading there.
Okay. Well, we prefaced the Henry's Lake section by talking about the Hall of Fame surf shaper Al Merrick. We had the fortune of fishing with him. Let's take a quick look at a section of the show that highlights Al, a little bit of his philosophy, and you'll be able to see a longer feature on Al that we're cutting together for the near future on our YouTube page as well. He's a great angler with a great story, and it's one that needs to be told.
Welcome to Henry's Lake in eastern Idaho. It's one of my favorite places to fish, and today we're fortunate enough to be able to fish with a legend, actually, a Hall of Fame surfer and all around great guy who loves to fish in the area, Al Merrick. Oh, that was a bite.
There's a certain piece about it. You're doing it yourself. And surfing's much like that. You go out in the water and you're in a beautiful environment trying to catch waves that are just naturally produced. I just love the challenge of it. I like the challenge that this lake presents, and all fly fishing really, but in that respect, it was much like making surfboards, or is much like making surfboards, is that it offers you the challenge, something to overcome, something to get better, and something to always learn.
There we go. Fish home.
I really didn't let it sink at all.
Really?
No.
Maybe I'm below him then, Al.
You might be. I think I got below him too. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even sink at all. I just started stripping. What's this fly represented? You think it's a chub fly or? Leech?
I tie it with a hackle on it, give it a spark.
Right, right.
How'd it hit? Did it just clobber it?
Yeah, it hit good. Yeah.
Yeah, those are little choppers. You couldn't get it. Now, fatty. Feels like you're dragging over a weed sometimes.
As far as surfing goes and fishing, the parallels, it's very close. When you're out there in the water and it's you and the waves, and the serenity of it, the beauty of it, and just the challenge of it. I find all that in fishing too. I've surfed for so many years, and I've fished for so many years, but in the end, fishing kind of wins out. Yeah.
Nice fish, cutthroat. He's taking drag on you. You've been fighting that heavy line all day.
Whoop. Don't get around that anchor rope. Whoa, that was good.
Stabbed him. Got him. Good job, Al. Great fish. 19-inch?
Yeah, 19. Nice looking fish.
Awesome work. It's windy. The conditions are not ideal, but you know what? That guy will play, huh? All right, Al. I'll give you the honors. Thank you, sir.
Let's let him go. There he goes.
So see what I mean? Just gentle giant, just so humble, so amazing. Loves fishing and just savors every minute of it, doesn't he?
True gentleman. I see him walking around my neighborhood every day with his dog, and I mean, he is as genuine of a person as you'll ever want to meet.
Right. So you can see the full feature on Al Merrick coming up on our YouTube page. Mike, it's getting late. I know that you're working 100 hours a week at the least. I want to thank you for your time. Before we go, I do want to ask you, if people want to book, what's the best time to book? What's the best time to get in touch with or the best way to get in touch with you? Give us the details.
I just seen you flashed our website address and everything up there. You can book direct through the website, or you can give us a call at 208-558-0152. We'll be happy to get you set up. Right now, I'm going to be brutally honest, bookings are picking up really fast. June is looking very full. So, you know, we need to, you'll need to start getting a hold of us and picking, you know, to get a choice of your dates. September and October, or people haven't started looking at those times, and for all of the waters up here, it may be a little bit cooler, but you're not going to find a better time to fish up here.
Right. And for more information on the region where Island Park is and all of Eastern Idaho, check out YellowstoneTeton.org. There's all kinds of information on fisheries, on where to fish, who to fish with, including drift, and any other recreation that you might want to get into. And it's an absolutely fantastic place. And yeah, you put it on your bucket list, people. It's absolutely amazing.
Yellowstone Teton does a great job in helping us out. They have a little pamphlet that features all the outfitters and guides in the area, and they'll help direct you for all activities in the area. I've been involved with them for a long time. They're a wonderful organization to work with.
All right, Mike. Well, thank you so much for your time. All the best to you, Jamie, and the family. And I can't wait to fish with you again, my friend.
I can't wait to see you out here, Mark.
Okay, man. Thanks, everybody. Join us next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, because I think we're going back to Newfoundland and Labrador. If we're not in Newfoundland and Labrador, we're back at 9 o'clock for another New Fly Fisher Live for everybody here at the New Fly Fisher. Thanks for watching. My name's Mark Melnyk, and hopefully we'll see you in the West.